The hospital called again this morning. Another stack of bills, another round of treatments for my dad, Daryl. He's 60 now, and the cancer has been relentless. My name's Clara, I'm 28, and most days it feels like my full-time job is keeping my dad alive and keeping his wife, Madison, from driving me insane. Madison, 42, is all polished smiles and perfectly coiffed hair, always offering to help with Dad's finances, which usually means she takes over, then I end up fixing whatever she's overlooked. She's got this way of making everything sound like it's for Dad's benefit, even when it clearly benefits her. This time, Madison had insisted on taking charge of the medical fund Dad's old friends had set up for him. "It's too much for you, dear," she'd purred, patting my arm, her eyes scanning my practical scrubs. "Let me handle the paperwork. You focus on Daryl." I'd been wary, but Dad, ever the trusting soul, just nodded weakly. He just wants peace, wants us all to get along, which is a constant battle with Madison. So, when the latest bill came, a hefty one for a new round of chemo, I went to the small safe in Dad's study. It's where he always kept important documents and the emergency cash for medical co-pays. Madison had been the one to last access it, claiming she needed to organize some insurance forms. I punched in the combination, the one Dad had given me years ago, the one Madison now also knew. The heavy door swung open. It was empty. My stomach dropped, a cold, hard knot. Panic seized me. Had I misremembered? Was I careless with the combination? I searched frantically, pulling out the few remaining folders, checking behind the metal box. Nothing. $12,000 gone. My mind raced, trying to account for it. Had Dad made a withdrawal I didn't know about? No, he'd told me specifically not to touch it unless it was an emergency. I started sifting through the recent bank statements and withdrawal slips Madison had left scattered on Dad's desk. Most of them were legitimate, signed by Dad for smaller expenses. But then I saw it, a withdrawal slip for $12,000, dated just 2 days ago. The signature was almost perfect, but not quite. Dad's D always had a distinct loop, a little flourish. This one was flatter, more hurried, an easily missed anomaly, but I knew my father's handwriting better than anyone. A cold dread settled over me, replacing the panic. It wasn't carelessness, it was deliberate. Later that evening, as I was setting up a tiny, motion-activated camera I'd bought online, Madison walked in, a saccharine smile on her face. "Clara, dear, you look so stressed," she said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Let me pray for you. It helps with the burden." I just nodded, forcing a weak smile back, my heart pounding with a secret, festering suspicion. I didn't sleep much that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle outside Dad's room had me on edge. The tiny camera was set up, pointing discreetly at the safe. The next morning, as soon as Madison left for her yoga class, I retrieved the camera. My hands trembled as I connected it to my laptop, my heart hammering against my ribs. I fast-forwarded through hours of uneventful footage. Dad's nurse Abigail, checking on him, me bringing him tea. Then, late last night, there she was, Madison. She wasn't wearing her usual silk robe. Instead, she had on one of my old, oversized hoodies, the gray one I'd left in the laundry room. Her face was obscured by the hood for a moment, but then she looked up, directly into the camera's lens, though she clearly didn't see it. Her expression was calculating, cold. She moved with a practiced ease, punching in the safe combination, pulling out the cash box, and systematically emptying it into a large designer handbag. $12,000 gone, right there on my screen. I felt a wave of nausea, a sickening lurch in my gut. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't carelessness. It was theft. My first instinct was to storm into Dad's room, wake him up, and tell him everything. But then I stopped. What good would that do? Madison would deny it, twist it, make me look like the crazy, jealous daughter. No. I needed more. I needed irrefutable proof, something she couldn't talk her way out of. So I swallowed the bile rising in my throat and resolved to act normal. Over the next few days, I watched her. She wore that gray hoodie again, lounging around the house as if it were hers. She'd make little comments. "Oh, Clara, I saw your dad's credit card statement. So many little charges. We need to be more careful." All while her eyes darted away. Small lies, easily dismissed before, now screamed betrayal. I called my cousin Tyree. He's 30, a whiz with computers and anything tech-related. "Hey, Tyree, can you do me a huge favor? Super discreet, super important." I didn't tell him everything, just that I needed to copy and secure some video files from a hidden camera. He agreed, no questions asked, just a knowing nod. Later, I confided in Sonia, my best friend since college. She's 33, always the voice of reason. "Clara, you need to be careful," she warned, her brow furrowed. "Don't escalate until you have everything locked down. This could blow up in your face." Her words echoed in my head as I dug deeper. Madison had access to Dad's credit cards for household expenses. I pulled up the online statements. There were the usual grocery runs, pharmacy bills. But then a series of charges stood out. A high-end boutique dress, a spa day, and then, inexplicably, 3 separate Airbnb bookings in different cities, none of which matched any family travel plans. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about Dad's medical fund anymore. This was a pattern. The Airbnb charges gnawed at me. I spent the next few days, whenever Madison was out or occupied with Dad, meticulously cross-referencing her credit card statements with her calendar. She'd claimed to be at church retreats or visiting her sister, but the dates for these trips perfectly aligned with the Airbnb bookings. One was in a beach town 2 hours away, another in a city known for its high-end shopping. She wasn't visiting family, she was vacationing using Dad's money. The boutique dress charge from Chapter 2 now made perfect sense. I found more. Expensive dinners, salon visits, all masked as family expenses in the ledger she kept for Dad. It was a sophisticated scheme, designed to be just plausible enough to avoid immediate scrutiny. One afternoon, Abigail, Dad's nurse, stopped me in the hallway. Abigail, 35, has been a godsend, a true friend to our family for years. "Clara, can I ask you something?" she whispered, glancing towards Dad's room. "Madison's been asking a lot about Daryl's prognosis, specifically how long he has, and what the chances are of him needing more invasive, expensive treatments. She seemed very interested in the timeline." My heart clenched. Abigail's innocent observation confirmed my worst fears. Madison wasn't just stealing, she was planning. Planning for a future without Dad, or at least a future where his illness served her financial gain. A wave of guilt washed over me. When Dad first married Madison a few years ago, after my mom left, I desperately wanted it to work. My parents' estrangement had left a gaping hole, and I'd hoped Madison, with her outward charm, might somehow heal our fractured family. I'd even tried to like her, to see the good in her. Now, that hope felt like a cruel joke. I was tormented by the thought of losing Dad, not just to cancer, but to Madison's manipulation. Dad's 60th birthday was coming up in a few weeks. It was supposed to be a small, intimate gathering, but Madison, of course, had insisted on a grand affair. Dozens of guests, a catered meal, a big fuss. It hit me then. This was it. This was where I would expose her. The idea terrified me, but also filled me with a cold resolve. I started rehearsing confrontations in my head, pacing my room late at night, imagining Madison's face when the truth came out. Sonia's words about having everything locked down echoed in my mind. As I continued to dig, I stumbled upon a deleted bank transfer in Dad's online records. It was a significant sum, dated a few months back, to an account I didn't recognize. The recipient name was just a string of initials. I tried to trace it, but the trail went cold. Then, a chilling thought struck me. Reginald, Madison's brother, 58, always hovering, always a little too close for comfort. Could he be involved? The idea that Madison had an accomplice, especially her own brother, made my blood run even colder. The days leading up to Dad's 60th birthday dinner blurred into a haze of mounting tension. I was a walking nerve ending, constantly reviewing the evidence I'd collected. Screenshots of bank statements, credit card slips from Madison's shopping sprees, the Airbnb receipts, even a printout of the deleted bank transfer to the unknown account. Tyree had helped me recover the details of that transfer, confirming it went to an account held by Reginald Duncan. My suspicion was now a concrete fact. Madison's brother was definitely involved. I tried to act normal, but it was getting harder. I'd casually bring up Dad's finances with other relatives, testing the waters. Some would nod sympathetically, others would just change the subject, their eyes flicking towards Madison. It was clear some of them suspected something, or at least didn't want to get involved. Madison, meanwhile, seemed to sense my growing animosity. She became even more condescending, her smiles tighter, her compliments laced with subtle digs. "Clara, you look tired. Are you sure you're getting enough rest? All this worrying about your father must be exhausting." It was her way of reminding me that I was the worrier and she was the pillar of strength. One afternoon, I was in the kitchen making Dad a smoothie when I heard voices from the study. Reginald was visiting Madison. Their voices were low, hushed, but the study door was ajar. "Making sure Daryl signs?" I heard Reginald whisper, followed by Madison's sharp, "Shh, not here." My blood ran cold. Signs what? My mind immediately jumped to legal documents, perhaps something related to Dad's assets, or even worse, his medical directives. A memory flashed through my mind, sharp and clear. My mother, just before she left, her hand gripping mine tightly. I was only a teenager then, maybe 14. "Clara," she'd said, her voice heavy with the sadness I hadn't fully understood at the time. "Always watch the gold in Madison's heart. It's not real, honey. It's fool's gold." I'd dismissed it then, thinking it was just bitterness from the divorce. Now her words echoed with chilling prescience. Later that evening, while Madison was out, I found her phone on the kitchen counter. My conscience screamed at me, but my resolve was stronger. I knew her passcode, her birthday. Scrolling through her recent calls, one number stood out. It wasn't in her contacts, but the area code was local. I quickly copied it down. A quick reverse lookup online revealed it belonged to a prominent family law firm specializing in divorce. My heart hammered. Divorce? Dad had been telling me just last week how happy he was, how Madison was such a comfort during his illness. He truly believed his marriage was fine. I quickly deleted the call from her log. The snare was tightening, and Madison was walking right into it, completely unaware. The birthday dinner was just 2 days away. My plan was fully formed, every detail meticulously arranged. I called Tyree again. "Hey, remember those video files?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. "I need you to set up a discreet way to play them on the big screen in Dad's living room, like really discreet, and I need it to be ready to go with a single click." Tyree, ever the professional, just said, "Consider it done, Clara. You got it." He didn't ask why, but I knew he sensed the gravity of the situation. While he worked on the tech, I focused on the physical evidence. I compiled a thick folder for Dad, printouts of the forged withdrawal slip, the credit card statements highlighting Madison's personal purchases, the Airbnb bookings, the recovered details of the transfer to Reginald's account, and even the phone record showing the call to the divorce attorney. Each piece was meticulously organized, a damning narrative of betrayal. This wasn't just about the $12,000, it was about everything. It was my shock and awe reveal, designed to leave no room for doubt or denial. Madison, meanwhile, seemed to be on high alert. She started acting different, overly solicitous. She'd bring me cups of tea, ask about my day, even offer to help with Dad's medication schedule, something she usually avoided. One evening, she cornered me in the kitchen, her eyes suspiciously moist. "Clara, I know we've been distant lately," she began, her voice soft. "And I just want to say, I'm sorry. I've been so focused on Daryl. I haven't been the stepmother you deserve. Can you forgive me?" Her performance was Oscar-worthy. I feigned forgiveness, giving her a tight, uncomfortable hug, my mind screaming with the irony of her words. She was trying to disarm me, to make me doubt myself, but it was too late. Dad, oblivious to the storm brewing around him, was struggling. The new round of medication was taking its toll. He was more detached, often confused, and his appetite was almost non-existent. He'd drift in and out of conversations, his eyes clouded with fatigue. It broke my heart to see him like this, and it fueled my resolve to protect him from Madison's predatory schemes. Later that night, my phone buzzed with an anonymous text message. It was from a burner number, impossible to trace. The message was short, chilling. "Be careful. Madison knows more than you think." My blood ran cold. My first thought was Abigail. She was the only one I'd spoken to even remotely about Madison's suspicious questions. But how could she know about my plan? Or was it a warning about Madison's own schemes? The text left me with a knot of dread, but also a renewed sense of urgency. The trap was set, but it felt like Madison might have a trap of her own. The house was buzzing. Dad's 60th birthday dinner was in full swing. Dozens of guests milled about, a mix of our extended family and Madison's church friends, all dressed in their Sunday best. Reginald, Madison's brother, was there too, looking smug, hovering near Madison. The air was thick with polite chatter and the clinking of glasses, but beneath it, I felt a tremor of anticipation, a nervous energy that was almost unbearable. Tyree had done his work flawlessly. The projector was hidden, connected to the living room's large flat-screen TV, ready for my signal. Dad sat at the head of the dining table, looking frail, but managing a weak smile. Madison, radiant in a new dress, probably paid for with Dad's medical fund, fussed over him, playing the doting wife. I watched her, a cold resolve hardening my gaze. The anonymous text from last night still gnawed at me, but it only strengthened my conviction. It was time for toasts. Madison, of course, went first, offering a flowery speech about Dad's strength and their unbreakable bond. Then it was my turn. I stood, my heart thumping a frantic rhythm against my ribs, and raised my glass. "To Dad," I began, my voice clear and steady, despite the tremor in my hands. "To 60 years of unwavering kindness, generosity, and trust." I paused, letting the words hang in the air, my eyes meeting Madison's. Her smile faltered, just for a second. "Dad," I continued, "you've always taught me the importance of honesty and integrity, and tonight I want to honor that by revealing a truth that has been hidden." A ripple of uneasy chatter spread through the room. Madison's eyes narrowed, her smile completely gone. Reginald shifted uncomfortably. I nodded subtly to Tyree, who was pretending to adjust a speaker in the corner. The living room TV, which had been showing a decorative fireplace loop, suddenly flickered. Then the surveillance video from Dad's study filled the screen. The chatter died instantly. Madison's face, captured in stark, undeniable detail as she emptied the safe, filled the screen. Her expression of horror was immediate, visceral. Gasps erupted from the guests. "What is this, Clara?" Madison shrieked, her voice cracking, her face paling. "This is an outrage, a lie!" Reginald immediately jumped to her side, his face a mask of fury. "This is slander. Turn it off." But the video played on, silent and damning. "A lie?" I countered, my voice rising above the din. "Is this a lie, Madison?" I walked over to the dining table, pulling out the thick folder I'd prepared. "Is this a lie?" I laid out the forged withdrawal slip. "Or these credit card receipts for your boutique dresses and spa days, all charged to Dad's account, disguised as household expenses?" I spread them across the table. "Or these Airbnb bookings for your secret vacations, while you told Dad you were at church retreats?" My voice was unwavering. "And this, Dad," I said, turning to him, his face a mask of utter shock. "This is a deleted bank transfer to Reginald's account, A cut of the money you stole from Dad's medical fund." Darryl looked from the screen to Madison, then to the evidence, his eyes wide with betrayal. He was shell-shocked, utterly devastated. "And finally," I said, my voice cutting through the stunned silence, "these?" I pulled out a stack of papers from the bottom of the folder. "These are divorce papers, Dad. I had them prepared for you. Because Madison wasn't just stealing your money. She was meeting with a divorce attorney, planning to leave you, likely after she'd bled you dry." I pushed the papers towards him. "You don't deserve this, Dad. You deserve peace. Sign them, before she flees with whatever else she can get her hands on." The silence that followed my last words was deafening, broken only by Madison's choked sob. Then the dam broke. "This is a lie, a cruel, disgusting lie," she screamed, her perfectly composed facade shattering. She pointed a trembling finger at me. "Clara, you manipulative little witch, you set me up. You're trying to steal Darryl's money for yourself." Reginald, red-faced and furious, stepped forward. "She's right. This is a setup. My sister would never do such a thing. Darryl, don't listen to her." But the church friends, Madison's supposed allies, were already backing away, their faces a mixture of shock and disgust. The video, still looping on the screen, was irrefutable. The credit card slips, the Airbnb receipts, the transfer to Reginald's account, it was all there, laid bare. Dad, who had been sitting frozen, slowly reached for the divorce papers. His hand trembled as he picked up the pen I'd placed beside them. He looked at Madison, his eyes filled with a pain so profound it twisted my gut. "How could you, Madison?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. "How could you do this to me?" Then, with a strength I hadn't seen in him for months, he signed the papers. His signature, clear and firm, was a stark contrast to the forged one on the withdrawal slip. Madison let out a wail, a truly theatrical sound, but it fell on deaf ears. Her church friends were already whispering, pulling out their phones. Within minutes, the news was spreading like wildfire through social media. Pictures of the evidence, screenshots of the video, were undoubtedly being shared. Her carefully crafted reputation was disintegrating before her eyes. "You think you've won, Clara?" Madison snarled, her voice venomous. "I'll sue you for defamation. I'll tell everyone you stole that money yourself and tried to frame me." "Oh, really?" I said, a cold satisfaction spreading through me. "Because Tyree, my cousin, happens to have time-stamped video evidence of me setting up the camera before the safe was emptied and then the footage of you emptying it, and he's got all the original files securely backed up." Tyree stepped forward, a small, confident smirk on his face, holding up a USB drive. Madison's face crumpled. The party dissolved into chaos. Madison stormed out, Reginald trailing behind her, shouting threats. The remaining family members surrounded Dad, offering comfort, their faces a mixture of anger and relief. I had done it. I had exposed her. But as I watched Dad, his shoulders slumped, his face etched with betrayal, a hollow ache settled in my chest. The triumph was real, but it felt empty. I had won, but at what cost to my already fragile father? Now I had to pick up the pieces. The house finally emptied, leaving just Dad and me in the stunned silence. The catering staff had packed up, the last of the shocked guests had departed, and the lingering scent of birthday cake felt like a cruel joke. Dad sat at the table, the signed divorce paper still clutched in his hand, his gaze distant. He looked utterly broken, smaller than I'd ever seen him. The triumph I'd felt moments before curdled into a bitter ache. I had saved him from Madison, but I'd also shattered his world. The fallout was swift and brutal. The next morning, I filed a police report for the theft and forgery, armed with Tyree's video evidence and all the documentation. Madison, true to her word, tried to fight back, sending me a cease and desist letter through her lawyer, threatening to sue for defamation. But with the video footage and the bank records, her claims were laughable. The police investigation quickly gathered momentum, and the district attorney's office showed keen interest in the forgery and theft charges. Her church friends, the ones who had gasped in horror at the dinner, publicly disavowed her, many posting their outrage on social media. Madison's carefully constructed life of piety and respectability crumbled overnight. Reginald, it turned out, had quietly vanished, likely sensing the legal storm brewing and wanting no part of it. Dad, for weeks, was a shadow of himself. The betrayal cut him deeper than I could have imagined. He grieved, not just for the loss of a wife, but for the illusion of a loving partnership. I spent countless hours by his side, just talking, listening, reassuring him. We talked about Mom, about our family, about everything Madison had tried to destroy. Slowly, painstakingly, the trust between us, which had been strained by his marriage to Madison, began to mend. Other relatives, seeing the truth, rallied around him. My aunt offered to cover a month's worth of his expensive medication, and my uncle, a retired accountant, helped sort through Dad's finances, ensuring the remaining medical fund was securely managed. The $12,000 was gone, but with the family's help, Dad's immediate medical bills were paid, and we started a new, transparent fund. I was hailed as a hero by some, especially by those who had always suspected Madison's true nature. Sonia called me every day, proud but still cautious. "You did what you had to do, Clara," she'd say. But others, particularly Madison's remaining sympathizers, looked at me with a mixture of fear and judgment. They saw the cold, calculating woman who had publicly humiliated her stepmother. I felt both liberated, knowing Dad was safe, and burdened by the spectacle I had caused. The weight of orchestrating such a downfall, even for a just cause, left a mark. Weeks later, standing in front of my bathroom mirror, I looked at my reflection. My eyes, once clouded with worry, now held a different kind of intensity. I had sought justice, and I had found it. But in doing so, I had walked a fine line, pushing the boundaries of what felt right, what felt moral. Had I crossed them? Or had I simply righted the wrongs done to my family, protecting the one person who mattered most?